Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for being patient. I've got the technology down to a fine art now, and I'm looking forward to this session. Jonathan and Diego are always very entertaining. I think if you saw, I think it was a couple of years ago when we had it at Sky City, Diego was wearing a blonde wig. It was very classic, so I can't wait to see what you come up with today. So take it away, Diego and Jonathan.
Thanks, Hamish. Welcome, everyone. How are we doing today? Awesome. Yeah, that's the spirit. And how are we doing online, folks? We have two folks. Good?
Yes.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, in Sky City, last time we had me wearing a wig, but today's about you. Hamish and the producers had asked me for the person who has the most brilliant question at the end will get a very amazing swag gift. And it's actually really amazing. So you are very encouraged to ask good questions, but only ask the questions that we can answer, okay? Awesome. So I'm Diego. We have my boss here who will introduce himself in a bit. I would just like to ask you guys to be very patient and be very nice with us, especially with me. I just came back from a holiday, still on jet lag, and if I don't get this right, he might fire me. So in the end of the day, if you don't like it, just say you liked it. Say Diego done a brilliant job, so I can keep my job. Okay. Awesome. It's a lie. Okay. Jonathan, who are you?
Yeah, thank you, Diego. So I would love to be there. Unfortunately, I happen to be in Australia, and I couldn't avoid being in Australia. So I decided, well, I had to dial in and be part of this rather than leaving Diego on his own. So it's lovely to be here. I was going to start this presentation with a rhetorical question, but what's the point?
They laughed a lot here, just by so
Right.
So yeah, it worked. That's amazing. That's awesome. And by the way, it's hybrid selling, right? What we're talking about, and what we're doing here is a hybrid presentation. So it fits really well. Fits really well. Shall we get started, boss?
Yes.
Cool bananas. So what are we talking about today?
Shall I go?
Cool.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Oh, you can
the
hear?
audience, but
No,
I can't
no.
hear. Yep.
No, that's so awkward here. I'm just basically looking at everybody looking to me, waiting for someone to say something.
So that was actually the rhetorical question point there with selling in a hybrid world. But actually this hybrid world discussion and sales in it came out of discussions that we'd been having with some customers.
I moved the HDMI. Oh, goodness. Let's do it again.
Can you still hear me?
Yes. Now
All
we can.
I'll carry on then.
Yeah.
This discussion of selling in a hybrid world came about based on some discussions we'd been having with customers where they spoke about their experience during COVID and even post-COVID, and that the previous model that they'd been having where everything was done in person and meeting in person and conversations in person had very much changed, obviously forced during COVID, but even since then, there's a lot more of their customers who want to do a lot more dealings online and a lot more discussions online. And then I happened to notice that in Microsoft's release notes for the latest wave, there is just so much investment in digital sales capability and the enabling of that at scale. And a lot of this flows through from some of the things, the concepts that we are used to from marketing. So we wanted to look through some of that and just see, well, how are these things actually fitting together? So Diego, click through some of that.
Yep.
So what we're going to look at, we are going to show a little bit of commerce and how that fits in the picture, as well as mind-blowing, from Diego's terms, real-time marketing. And we're really showing that because of the context and how it fits into the sales picture, because there's some amazing stuff coming out in terms of automatic lead assignment and automating the sales management and sales processes. And in Diego's terms, what does that last one say?
Ooh.
The previous one.
Oh, sorry. Making salespeople great again. Yeah. Definitely not inspired in the previous president from US, but that's fine.
So
and what else?
Yes, and then the application of AI to the entire picture of sales and the activities that salespeople actually take part in during each part of the process. So this is quite cool, some of the stuff that's coming and that's new in the platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. So, and how we'll do then, Jonathan and folks, we'll tell you a story. Because we thought that we had two ways to run this day, the boring way or the storytelling way. So we'll put you into a story so that we'll piece all that we just discussed into a nice flowing journey, hopefully nice flowing journey. But before that, Jonathan, we forgot something very important. We'd like to acknowledge Richard, Remy, and Hamish for the organization of the event, all the speakers that are bringing really good content, and you guys for coming along, because otherwise there wouldn't be an event. So can we just stop for a second, acknowledge and honor everybody that's making this happen, please, with a round of applause? Woo! Yeah, really well done. So the story, we will be in the shoes of a company called Fusion X High Five, which is definitely not inspired in Fusion 5, the company we happen to work for. Definitely not.
Double.
Exactly. And this company here, this fictitious company, sells high-end hi-fi audio systems for other business that happen to do audio system installations for commercial premises, home, this sort of things. Make sense? So Jonathan, what is the first step that will be happening in this journey?
Yeah, so we'll actually start off with looking at it from the perspective of what we've got already in place as a manufacturer and supplier of hi-fi solutions. We'll be looking at some of the smaller products, but we are looking at it from our existing manufacturing operations and commercial operations and the selling of that. And that's our starting point, because we have had stable business and we've had this running and we've managed to get it online just when COVID hit. So we've got a stable set of operations there. And then next off,
we'll have a dude, and he's not named because you guys will come up with a name in due time. He will be someone working for the same company as Sally, a customer, another business, and he will be going to a landing page and demonstrating interest in a new set of products. And then we'll see what happens after he fills this form, which is...
So then we're very much looking at, an organization who's got some sales capability and got their products online in B2B or B2C, how do they then, when COVID hits or when things change and when things go into a hybrid sort of setting, how do they start to manage those automating of communications that come in and leads that come in, and how do they enable that sales operation and management at scale? That's the next stage that we're looking at with Carl, who's a kind of spanning across from marketing into sales and managing that process.
Exactly. And then we'll put ourselves in the shoes of Patty, who happens to be a salesperson for Fusion X. And how will she qualify this lead? How she'll make sure she's following the appropriate sales steps to get this deal done, and how AI can even help her. So that in the end,
we'll be able to look back and see, well, how are we actually going? Are we actually using the system? And what signals are we getting as to the quality of what we're doing in order to be able to better sell at scale while we can't necessarily meet everyone in person?
Nice. Okay, first question. Are you guys still here? Fell asleep? Makes sense? Easy story. Thumbs up. Nice, Ben. By the way, that feels like question, David.
In your first slide, you had MLA system.
The first line. Oh, we'll come back to a second. I'll leave you hanging there. That's a really good question. Thanks.
I missed that, sorry.
What MLA means in our first line, first or second line. Yeah. But as I will come back to a second. Cool bananas. Shall we get into it? Jonathan, you want to share your screen and start the story, please?
Yes, I will.
And I'll stop here.
So, one moment here.
Does this feel awkward doing a hybrid presentation? Like I feel like I'm speaking to a ghost and like. Yeah, it feels right. Thanks.
Do we need another joke to ease the awkwardness?
maybe.
All
Go
right.
for it.
I mean, did anyone manage to catch the recent database movie? A movie about databases? If not, don't worry, because there is going to be a sequel.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Right.
Oh goodness, what am I doing?
Okay, so welcome to Fusion X Hi-Fi, which is this is our B2B commercial website, and this is a pretty typical looking website, obviously, for selling products online. Yes?
Sorry to interrupt. You're sharing your screen, right?
Yes, I am sharing my screen.
Okay, so we'll get some technical help here from the gurus. Sorry to interrupt. We have to make this entertain. It's jet lag still.
Otherwise, if you need to, you could show the screen through your side to the main screen, and just I can talk you through.
Yeah, it was working. But I
can see something completely different over there.
Okay, can you stop sharing and share again, please?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's go. Good. Maybe focus on content. Yeah.
Drag this across.
Yep.
Yeah, full screen. Oh,
Yeah, and that's all good.
What am I doing? You do it.
No, that's all good. Man, this
there
feels
we
so
go.
amazing.
I'm just leave it like as.
Take it away.
Okay, we're on the screen.
Yeah.
Cool. So as Fusion X Hi-Fi, we managed to get our manufacturing catalog online through this commerce website. This is part of Dynamics 365, the commerce engine, and it's connected to our underlying finance and operations system, where we can actually manufacture all this gear and supply it out into business to B2B relationships. Now, we also can do multi-brand. So one of the things that we noticed coming through in recent release notes is that there is a brand element being introduced into sales and marketing, so that we can group and manage our outbound activities, such as marketing campaigns, under separate brands. So if we are manufacturing or supplying or selling through different brands, even through B2B and B2C, we can start to manage that across the Dynamics platform. So here in B2B, you can see I can enable someone to sign up and become a partner through, say, filling in an application form, and we can process that through normal things like credit checks. We've also got Sally, our example customer, who can come in and see either her order history, where she's been ordering quantities of the products that we're creating, or she can go into her account and see more of this. Actually, this is the first time I've pressed the screen for 15 minutes or so. So there we go. We can see full-on corporate profile here and all her order history, managing of invoicing, templates, account credits, and the like. So all of this accessible from the underlying Dynamics 365 data layer. So she can see her existing order history, request invoices, pay invoices, all that sort of thing. She might also want to go through and search for a new item or an item that she wants to submit an order for. So let's say securing some supply of boom boxes for supplying out to her stores, and she can come here and of course add that in and go check out, etc., and submit that through. So all of this normal, pretty sort of standard sort of stuff that you'd expect in a good quality e-commerce instance can apply a credit, for example, any that's existing on the account, save and continue, and then place order. And that's what we'd expect. But what we've just had happen there is that in our, let me just refresh that screen, in our finance and operations area, and so we wanted to just dip into this because we are spanning the way that we both pull together our supplies or our manufacturing and the way that we then sell it out to people. So in our finance and operations area, we can then come in and whichever brand that we are working with, whether we're working through our B2B element of selling hi-fi, or maybe we're then selling some quite different things through B2C, we can come in here and manage that all within here. And I'll just go through and say, have a look at our sales orders that have come in, go into new or unconfirmed orders and review those. And we'll get that order coming through, and we can go and see Sally Jane has been making some orders for new supply of articles. Click into that and see some different sorts of hi-fi equipment that we've been selling and those orders coming through. Now, why this is a consequence is obviously we've got our operations going, and we've managed to get our selling online during the pandemic and since then. But it may be that whether to an existing company or an existing customer or to a new one, we actually want to start selling something more. Perhaps sales and marketing have been talking together and decided that they wanted to come up with a new product offering, and they need to figure out who of the existing, or they need to be able to take that and sell to existing customers, but also be able to enable new customers to come in and consider setting up that commercial relationship to buy at scale. So that's what we're going to look at next. How do we take in a lead for a new product that you'll be surprised, actually, Diego has done a lot of product market analysis and come up with a new product offering that will be quite relevant to the market, has clearly identified a need in the market. Let's take that away, Diego. Have a look at that.
Ooh, bananas. Meanwhile, the room here is really quiet. Where are the questions? I have a book here. I'll write out your name. Hamish. Did you hear that, boss?
No.
Hamish Shield, putting his name down, question number 1, asked, man, this portal looks really nice. Did you put a lot of effort to configure, customize it?
That's a good question, actually. You might, we can assure everyone that that wasn't a planted question. But the editing of this portal is actually done through the Commerce engine, but it's got a lot in common with the way that you might edit a portal in the most recent iteration of Power Pages. So very much the same sort of element of click-through WYSIWYG editing and replacing of elements or adjusting of the layout. And so it's a low-code kind of portal creation experience. So there are templates and much the same as in the Power Portals, but you've got the flexibility to create it on your own with low-code interface.
Without wanting to bastardize the amazingness of the product, but you mentioned Shopify, right? So now Microsoft has its own high-end commerce solution that connects with the whole shebang, and that's cool bananas. Yes. Use this for a non-transactional thing. Yeah, 100%. Sorry, let me get your name, please, for the gift list. Okay, no, I'll put it here anyway. It's at the left. So, Jonathan, the question is, could we sell things for or offer products for no price using the same platform instead of actually charging? Maybe a membership or a ticket for a free event type of thing. And the answer is yes. Do you want to elaborate more on that?
No, I probably need to go off and have a good dig into and thinking about scenarios on that.
Nice.
But yeah, normally the answer is yes, and you just got to figure out any caveats.
Yeah, but I say yes because I catch up often with the finance and operation guys, and they have non-for-profit type of scenarios where you have products with value of 0. So you can do, it's just a matter of figure out the pricing list and sort of things. Cool bananas.
And just as we transfer across to Diego's next element, one of the reasons why we can use a lot of this data then in the next stuff that Diego will be showing is just because it becomes part of that underlying data layer and from Dynamics 365. So we can use dual write to bring stuff across, or just use it to trigger, say, or to create triggers in what we'll be looking at soon.
Yeah. Which it's here. So you want to walk us through, Jonathan, what we have here? So folks, Sally went to Fusion X commerce platform and she acquired this Bluetooth speaker, right? And what we're looking at here, boss?
So this is where we are showing marketing, and I know there are some other marketing sessions that we don't want to step on the toes of, but we wanted to show this because it sets an important context for what's new in the sales side of the product too. And so here we see a real-time trigger, or a trigger that powers real-time marketing. So you can, previously in marketing, you'd use things like marketing lists or segments that start off the automated journey or campaign. Here we're using a trigger such as the fact that Sally has bought a particular product. So in our sales and marketing brilliance that Diego is soon to display, we've decided that people who have bought this type of product are good targets for a new offering that we might want to bring to the market in a wholesale scenario. So here we have one where Sally has purchased this type of product, and so therefore we drop her into this marketing campaign to send her some content that about a new product in which she might be interested.
Yeah, exactly. And now I just wanted you guys to say, ooh, everybody. Ooh. Yeah, because this is the holy grail in marketing. What used to happen until a few months ago, as Jonathan said, but I want to push that forward because Michael Biggs will not do a good job as we're doing right now. So we want to step in his shows. He's doing a marketing session. Michael Biggs will not do a good job as us. He's a really good guy as well that works with Fusion 5 and is presenting marketing today. He'll do a brilliant job. And he'll probably cover this. But what we're saying here is, back in the day, a few months ago, you could only trigger marketing campaigns, emails, SMS, all this type of things, if a contact was part of a segment, if he had some criteria checked. Now, that's pretty big. It's based on transaction. So if you have a sales order against someone's name, as we have here, or if someone's interacts or go to a web page, despite any segmentation thing, there will be a trigger for us SMS thing kind of, or an email. So now you can do, that's why it's called real time, because any transaction that a contact a person ever has with you can be the trigger for that.
Yes.
Yeah, you can still up it up. Yeah, everything. But now we have more. Yeah.
Yeah, you can use completely custom triggers to create your own trigger
Exactly.
type.
So would that be a scenario, for example, I'm looking at this boombox and that boombox, put it in the cart, haven't actually committed yet. Within 2 seconds, an email is generated, sent to me, oh, David, you can get our thing, it's still in your... Are you going to buy it?
Yeah, exactly. Abandoned cart, 100%. And a lot of other things like that as well. So it's pretty powerful. Really good question. You have 2 questions already, David. So you're in the lead and Hamish is not eligible. So we have competitions. More questions are welcome. Okay, following up with the story here, Jonathan.
Right. So what happens then when Sally has triggered this by purchasing a product that fits that product market match? We've decided to send her a super amazing new sound offering text message. And this is triggered in rapid time, real time. Comes out, says, we thought you'd be interested in this. And then when we can track off how they respond to the SMS. So you can see that's the next thing in the path of this campaign attribute. I hope they respond to the SMS. If they don't respond to the SMS, then Diego has created some more marketing content that is seeking to entice them to respond. And if they do, we can branch down a different route and take them through and exit this. So this is just a simple example to say, okay, in relation and based on the sale, we can start triggering a next action because we think there's a good match for what we're about to bring out.
Exactly. Cool bananas. So what we have so far, oh, another question. Name?
For yeah. Business. Some text.
Oh, I like that. Okay. So, sorry, your name was? Celine. So Boss, Celine had a really good question here, which was around how can you differentiate, for instance, an SMS that comes from the Power Platform Dynamics here and like another dodgy SMS just trying to steal your money from, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I'll preempt part of the question. Sorry. That, well, it's part of the customization as well as the message, right? But that's not related to the technology. I'll leave Jonathan to talk to the technology. But for instance, what I have seen is that out of what do you call? Out of the blue messages that say, hey, just click here and you entitled for something, are obviously not as appealing as to say, hey, we noticed a recent purchase of the Bluetooth speaker. Will you be interested in something else? So that's one. And secondly, is Microsoft partner up with SMS carriers that are top of the end, whitelisted, and all these kind of things. There are other platforms that, for instance, for email, that don't have the same level of deliverability of emails or SMS. That makes sense. Want to add something?
Yeah, I think that's pretty on point. It's obviously it's part of the reputability of the content, how it looks. Everyone is relatively accustomed to receiving SMS messages, and there are some typical suppliers that would do that. But I think it's managing that trust through the content and also the expectations of the relationship that they know that they're going to receive them. So existing relationship or sign up.
Sorry?
Are they coming from local numbers or some random number like Australia?
Yeah. Are they coming from local numbers or random numbers? Yeah, it will be one of those in random numbers like 3214 kind of thing. So, but that's fine. Okay, sorry, your name? Steven. Another question. Oof. Yeah. 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 Ooh, I think it's a really good question. Not sure if I entirely got it, but basically, if you buy the product, you receive. If you don't buy, you don't receive the message. Yeah. Okay, you're talking about stock.
Stock out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you could, but I'll say that more of the stock side of things in this question, because in marketing, if he buys 50 and you buy 50 and Hamish has 2 in the cart, he cannot proceed if there's no in stock, because that's the beauty of the commerce related to the ERP. You won't be able to process the purchase if there's no in stock. What? Yeah, so she won't be able to buy 50. So whoever comes first will decrease from the stock. That's what I'm saying.
You can also, because it's a commerce engine, you can take those orders and either fulfill from available stock or communicate via the portal that it's back order.
Yeah, but it's still a good question. I would suggest we talk in the end as well, because we have a lot of content to go through, and then we can go into the intricacies of that. Another question? Yep. And it's not. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean. You're talking how we will trigger the marketing campaign. Yeah, well, you still have the restriction of dual rights taking what, 5, 10, 15 minutes sometimes to trigger. So yeah, but there is no other really scenario that will be more automated than that. But yeah, it's a good point. Good point. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. But anyway, let's move forward because there are heaps to go through and we only have 15 minutes. We're not even halfway through. And I really appreciate the questions, guys. Some of you will actually get the prize. So what happened here in the story is Sally had been annoyed with SMS, with email, and then what she done is she forwarded the email to someone on her company and saying, hey, dude, I know you on a project creating the audio system for a pet store. I think that will be interesting to you. The guy goes, click on the email, and gets into this fabulous landing page. So Fusion X now is selling pet sound systems. And look at this. It's really amazing. Makes your pet relax. It's super cheap. Your money back guaranteed. And it's made in Brazil, home country. So it's really good quality, right? Even some testimonials here. So this guy or this dog said, woof, woof, which means I love it. This other one said, woof, woof. It helped me be less grumpy. It actually works. And what happens is this guy here says, I have some preempted data here. Hey, I'm interested in this super duper customized pet sound system solutions because I'm working in a project for a pet company and a pet shop that I have to install it. I want to talk to you. So he goes, submits a form. He's from the consulting industry. Remember this because I'll show that parameter later. And he works for whatever company. We just need a name here. John Smith. Shield Mongla to honor our organizers. And whatever email. Cool. And he submits it. This is
Oh no, that's all right. Just in case.
Yeah. Cool. Done. So this is a classic part of a landing page part of the Dynamics 365 that you'll see later in a not so good session later on. Then what happens? As a sales manager now for Hi-Fi, I have won a lot of leads, like thousands for it. And I have more than 30 salespeople. The problem that used to be the case with the platform is how do you assign? So you could use workflows, plugins, Power Automate, but it's nothing off the shelf. So the real business problem here is how easily a sales manager can create rules to assign leads. That's what we're trying to resolve here. Yeah, exactly. Love it. You got, oh my goodness, there's so many people asking so many good questions. That will be tough to give the prize. I'll leave Hamish to decide. Good. And in terms of technology, when it comes to Dynamics 365 sales, what do we do? Anyone? We have now something, it's been around for a few months, which is called the Sales Accelerator. So basically what I will do here, I'll step that quick. I can create a segment. So for instance, and this, if you look at the interface, it's all in the sales app. So there's no reason why a sales manager or his personal assistant, let's say, couldn't do this. So it's pretty cool. So he's saying, hey, for all the leads that are in the consulting industry that we just shown, and in the interest topic, they say super, I want to put these leads into this segment. That's number one. Number two is I will create attributes for my team that will be based on that. So for instance, the industry, the interest, and this all sort of things, right? That matches my segment. And then I'll go, for instance, to Patty, and I'll say, hey, I want Patty to handle all leads that come from consulting, from the landing page, that was the case, and that has the super interest. And then finally, I create a rule. And by the way, who here is an end user of Dynamics and who here is in the consulting business of Dynamics, the Power Platform? End users? End user. Okay, consulting? Okay, none of the above? Okay, what do you guys do? Okay, good question. Nice. Carry on here. I select the segment, right? So in our case, it's consultant and super. I telling the tool, hey, I only want to get salespeople who have these elements, these attributes, people who are focused on the consulting industry, getting leads from landing page, and obviously had the word super because it's the word of the day. And finally, and this is, so every time I do that, you guys do, ooh. Okay, it'll be better next time. Yeah, better. You can distribute the leads to the salespeople by round robin or load balancing them. So what happened? Imagine if you have two salespeople with the same attributes, Patty and John. Who gets the lead? Maybe one turn each, or you could actually set a capacity. So you can say Sally can only work on 10 and this guy on 30, or you could set the schedule in CRM, or even better, that might be your question, Outlook availability. Yep. So, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Depends on the lead.
So, yeah, what it tries to do is balance the capacity. So if your capacity is 60 and you have like 50 leads already, and the other person capacity is 1,000, and they have one lead, they'll give to this other person. So the capacity and number of leads get kind of proportional. Yeah, and the balance is yeah. Cool. So as you guys on the same page, I mean, I don't want to do a teaching class, but does it make sense?
And also, if you're not too sure, click on the link.
Exactly.
Manage lead capacity.
Exactly. And then, or click on the learn link and you go and check it out. Cool bananas. So now as a sales manager, what we have done is we have created rules to automatically assign leads to this or this person. Now what Jonathan will walk us through is how we ensure the person, the salesperson, will do the steps they have to do. Because we have Amelia here, I think she's a salesperson. Ask her if she does what she has to do. No, she does whatever she wants. She doesn't do what the boss wants. But what we're showing you now is how do you do what your very well-esteemed boss wants you to do? Jonathan.
Thanks. Yeah. So as we showed with the marketing designer before, one of the more recent introductions to the sales area is this ability to have this sort of graphical drag and drop flowchart designer for what the salesperson should do next within our methodology. And so in the past, we've had, the business process flow that goes across the top that shows us what pipeline stage or what stage this particular process is in, like an opportunity. But here we might have quite granular and quite different types of opportunities based on the product or a characteristic of the customer. And we can start to string together a sequence of steps that should take place within this. So the first one we've got here is we start to annoy the prospect with another email. And so based on how they then interact with that, or just based on the fact that we want to stage these things together, we can put in a phone call as the next thing of call them. Why not? After that, we may have the advanced phone condition where if they were able to make the call, we can take them down one path. If they weren't able to make the call or they haven't done it yet, we can follow up in good time with an automatic email, and then we can remind them again to do another follow-up call. So it's that same as you've seen in the marketing sort of campaigns, that ability to design in your methodology using a canvas kind of designer and putting this in front and center for the salesperson. What's quite cool about this too is if you consider, we sort of could do that with business process flows, because when you change a stage or when you update some data, you could have a workflow that triggers this or that. This is designed to be manageable by a sales manager, so they can actually start to put together their sales process. They don't have to do even setting up a workflow automation. It's done automatically off this canvas once they design their flow. And if you just press edit sequence there, We'll show the, yep, do that.
Fine.
So on the edit screen of this, you can see that we can start to just use that plus sign to pull in another type of activity. So the different types of activity, even a weight, just like in marketing, you can also use conditions on the next tab. So all the different types of operations that have been traditionally part of that digital marketing, but not digital sales. And then going through into commands, adding to another sequence or updating a field. So stuff that you traditionally do through workflow automation. And then cool enough on that last tab, LinkedIn, the ability to even branch this out through LinkedIn operations, such as getting introduced or getting connected or sending in an email. So that's some pretty cool stuff that they can actually design into their sales methodology. And then if we just exit out of here and go to the connected leads tab, this shows us all the leads against which this process has been applied. And you can see them down the bottom, including ones that have just been very recently added. They are going through this process, and it's working.
Cool. That's awesome, right? Ben, John. Oh, Ben has a second question, as well as David. Tell me. That's the reporting. Yeah, but you have data behind the scenes that you can do. But that's why in the beginning we said that is sales manager friendly, because you see Microsoft is switching the old or the Power Platform admin portal to in-app sort of configuration, right? Yeah. So for now, sales managers will deal with it here, but you obviously have the data behind the scenes to do more. Ah. Love it. Yes. Not all out of the shelf, but yeah, you have the data there that shows the sequence per person, but you have to build the chart actually and the list.
So my question will be that part of actually balancing out, showing who. So would the sales manager at a certain point that obviously good, my team has suddenly done 10 leads and you're in, is there a notification or a way of alerting the sales manager at a certain point?
Yeah, there is, but it will be outside of the sequences. So what happens, the sequence is precedent for something very amazing that Microsoft is yet to do. For instance, yeah. So it's still kind of simple, although it's really cool and address something that we haven't before. But the reporting or more of this conditional workflows will be there. Notification.
Yeah.
Ben, okay, we have a dispute here between Ben and David in terms of quantity of questions. Tell me, and Celine. Yeah. Yeah, both. Yeah, they have a table for the sequences, but they also interact with the data in the record. So you can change, for instance, the status of a lead through the sequence. It actually triggers that off the shelf. That makes sense.
And then that's yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, ask you some entities announcements right that lead that one, you know.
Yeah. No, suggest we do it either manually or automatically to change the owner of the lead. Yeah, we have consultants here in the room. There are many ways to do that. But yeah, you could go from the most manual to the most automated. But if someone goes away, you can also shut the person down from the sales accelerator. So leads won't even be assigned to this person from the period that she's not there. Quick question. It's 11:34. Does that mean that we only have 1 minute, or we can? Because technically the session is finishing in the next 30 seconds. Couple of minutes. Okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
No more questions.
That'll be tricky. Okay, so boss, shall we quickly show the voice thingy and a little bit of the sales insights?
Yeah, I think so. So these lead sequences get embedded in the lead and opportunity forms, so you get guided in context about what to do next as a salesperson. But then onto the what you're saying about the voice stuff. I think that'd be quite cool to see.
Cool. Awesome. So just to show you guys how the sequence works. So you have this brilliant workspace here now in Dynamics that shows the leads that are assigned to you. You click here, you see the stuff here, and the sequence itself, different from the business process flow, now it's in the form. And when you actually click on it, instead of just telling you to do something, it physically or virtually opens the email with a proper template to you to do stuff. So it's impossible for people like Amelia again to miss this, right? Because it's in front of you, just click and do it. Cool. Something really quick is, imagine now our sales friend here, Patty, is working on a lead from someone else that went in maternity leave, and then she wants to see what happened in the previous conversation. They had a call through Microsoft Teams. The call was recorded. The person is away. I want to know what they spoke. With Jeremy spoke, and now I'm Patty. If it works. Crazy, right? And it follows through the stuff. Not only that, although the sales pitch in America is terrible. If I was salesman there, I'll be rich already. But anyway, what happens is it records, stores transcripts, and analyze the transcripts. Then you can tag. You can see how much Jeremy done a bad job talking 221 words per minute. He didn't have long pauses. But exactly. But he did mention, hey, I'll send you an invite. And look at this. The tool already suggests you, hey, send an email with the subject invite to this person, automatically capture some mentions that you predefine around competitors and all the sort of things, and even give you some of the sentiment analysis throughout the conversation. For instance, here, she's... What makes you better? So analyze all the stuff. Really cool, right? Really cool. Really cool. See, I suck as well. And now we can suck it together. It's really cool. So I'm butchering here just because of the time constraint. So Jonathan, want to walk us through a little bit of the sales insight?
Yeah, if you just head across there. So what it essentially means is that within the context of that sales process and against that sales sequence, we end up getting insights into how things are going. So both from the conversation and from emails and interactions. If you can see on the right here that we've got an opportunity grade that's being scored based on what we've done and what we haven't done in terms of comparison ones or in terms of stuff that we should be collecting on our opportunity. And if we go across to our relationship analytics tab, we'll see this giving us this set of contextual insights based on this opportunity versus other ones, and based on how we are interacting with the customer versus how much they're interacting with us. And so this is starting to be a configurable kind of model that can be tweaked based on different types of opportunities too, in new stuff coming through. But the significance of this is that if you think about that phone call record that we just saw, and if you think about the fact that emails are coming in and tasks are being generated and all of that, and appointments are being synchronized through Outlook, the fact that we've got Teams and Outlook in a digital sales kind of a hybrid business model means that we're actually able to capture much more into CRM and therefore get much more into insight than in a typical model where you had to try and push salespeople to use CRM, and it was entirely dependent on what data they manually add to CRM. So now we're actually automating a lot of that process and being able to put tasks and such like in front of them, but also being able to capture much of what they're doing inside their everyday tools of Outlook and Teams, even voice interactions, and bring this back against the business data here in the opportunity.
Even if they don't use CRM. It's here, because they cannot get away from Teams, Outlook, phone calls, etc. Cool. So in respect of time, Do you want to go through the takeaways, please? So just before that, in our storytelling here, Patty closed the deal. She got into the sales circle, most top performers, and she went to Hawaii. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. So it worked by today. Jonathan.
Yes. Yes, so we really wanted to just, I think, coming back to how we started, that a lot of this came out of what our customers were saying and what Microsoft seems to have been dropping into the product, that there are so many cool ways in which the sales automation tools and the connections with Teams and Outlook and other parts of the product are starting to interact. And that's just enabling so much more automation of sales processes, but also capture of what's going on in there. So trying to help people cope within a world that is often even based on customer preferences, not just pandemics, now requiring a lot more hybrid and in-person sort of mixed interactions with customers.
Yep. And again, all the other vendors say they have this, and obviously a lot of them have an end-to-end thing, but collaborations tools like Outlook, the Microsoft Teams whole strategy is really just Microsoft. So there's no other place you can find this. Buy today. What are you waiting, Amelia? Just go and buy some licenses. Okay, guys. In terms of, I know we over time. Boss and Hamish, sorry, I made the executive call here to give a swag to David. Because he not only asked good questions and a lot of questions, but he's also been honoring Fusion 5 coming to all the app in a day, dashboard in a day events, everything. So it's a demonstration that you are very, good for the community. See you, boss. Thank you, everybody. Hope you have fun at the end of the day.